Hey everyone, today's going to be a long video because we're going to do a Q&A. I put out on Instagram stories like a post where you can leave me a question, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, that's predominantly where I do the Q&As. I put the answers on here, but I put the questiony bit on there. So if you don't follow me, you might want to follow me there. I'll put the handle in here. Okay, so I've got some really good questions from you guys. I've got a lot though, and some of them, it's quite annoying when you write a long comment, like this top one for example. Instagram makes the writing really small and then it cuts the question off, so I can't read the full thing, but I kind of get the gist of it. So the first one is from Revolving Style, who has put, I'd love to know your thoughts on Dior's change as a customer and if you resonate with the new creative director Jonathan. I really like what I'm seeing so far. I went off Dior because of their data breach, and do you know what? Harrods have annoyed me so much. They've had yet another data breach. The first time they had a data breach, I think it was earlier this year, they said they managed to get on top of it and combat it before the hackers got any information. But they've had one now on their website, and if you've ever ordered off the website, or probably in store, I'm not sure, but definitely on the website, they've got all your details. And an email went round, and Andrew, you actually wrote to me about it, and two emails have gone round so far. The last one was pretty scary from Harrods because it basically said that it had got to a point where they've had to involve the National or Cyber Security Crime Agency as well as the Metropolitan Police, and apparently people are getting like phone calls, WhatsApp messages and text messages pretending to be someone they know, or Harrods or whoever, and they're trying to extort money from them, or I would imagine people are probably being threatened as well, because, you know, they've got this information. So I've really gone off Harrods. They've kind of really annoyed me actually, and I think a lot of us feel the same way. You charge that much money, I'm sure you can afford to look after our data correctly. I should say it wasn't, Harrods have said it's not them directly, it's a third party that they work with to run the website. And whenever I buy through Harrods on the website, it comes from a company called eGlobal or something, so I can't remember the name, but that might not be the name. But yeah, it's kind of put me off, and it put me off Dior. Put me off Dior a lot. But I really like the new designs that are coming out of there. I might end up going back, who knows? But no, I really like what I'm seeing. The next one is from Drifting Into Fantasy. Will your fashion style change after retirement? I'm not retired. Oh no, you've said I'm retired and dressing more fancy now. Yeah, I think I probably will. I mean, well, I don't know. Tell you why. I love going for walks, I love going to the gym, and for the most part I live in like a hoodie and some comfortable trousers. I do dress up when I'm going out for lunch, for dinner, when I'm going to the shops, you know, I really like to dress up for that. But when I'm just casually at home, I know I'm going to go to the gym later, so I probably wouldn't get glam in the morning, only to not go anywhere and get changed into my gym stuff in the afternoon. So I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm just looking forward to retirement though. This has been a dream, this has been a real goal to have hit retirement so early in my life. I am still gonna, I think one of your questions is about this, like what am I gonna do? Because, you know, I'm not gonna do nothing. I've already got plans, but I don't know how I'm gonna dress. Probably quite casual. The next one is from Xian Li Chong, sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. Singapore Grand Prix, who's gonna win? I need to catch up on it. I want to say Lando. Okay, so I don't know, I need to catch up on it, but I would like to say Lando. Green Oak Dilston has said, how has Louis changed your life? Massively. At the beginning, I was like, what have we done? Because anyone who's had a puppy or even a kitten, and definitely a baby, will not wishing to compare a dog to a baby, but it's probably somewhere along the similar lines. But initially, David and I were like, what have we done? Because he was so, like, crying through the night, like really crying through the night, needing the loo every couple of hours through the evening, going to the toilet anywhere, not necessarily outside. Like, we loved him to bits, but we were so tired. And so like, oh my gosh, this is very overwhelming. but he's calmed down a lot, and he's, I want to say, I don't want to speak too soon, but I want to say he is getting on top of toilet training. That has been the hardest thing, you know. But I'm really glad we've got him. We take him pretty much everywhere. He loves the car now. He didn't at first. He hated the car, but he actually gets excited about getting in the car now. And we've got our favourite pubs and restaurants we can take him to. And he's really like slotted into our life, actually. And we still have the rabbits as well. And some of you have said, like, has the dog taken over from the rabbits? He hasn't taken over, but it's different. They're very different animals. Like rabbits, you can't just, like, I can go and scoop Louis up right now. He's busy doing something. I could go and scoop him up right now and hold him for the camera and give him a scratch on the head. You can't do that with rabbits. They hate being picked up. Jessie will just run away from you if you try and pick her up. Lola will actually scratch at you. They don't want to come off the ground. And you know, rabbits are quite different. You come home at the end of the day, Louis will run up to you and greet you. Lola and Jessie are like, where have you been? Food, please. You know, that it's a very different relationship. Okay, this next one is from D. Bayer Z, who has said, what are your thoughts on the Dior D-Dream bag? Do you know, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that is. I need to look into it. I haven't looked at Dior for so long that I've seen a few things on my Instagram. Like there's some cute shoes that came up that are like peep toe with a bow on them. I've seen those, they're really nice, but I haven't seen any of the bags, so I need to look into it. Rena Hack has said, how are you? That's lovely. I am really good, thank you. Alicia Bandari, 28, has said, what's a good face sunscreen? Do you know what I really like? I've been using, on and off, so I use Qualarex Beauty, which is a subscriber-owned brand, and Christina makes the products herself, and I can't deny they just work. They're really, really good, and I can recommend her. I love her serums, I love her face mists, and I love her eye serums. But when it comes to sunscreen, I really like the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. It's really hydrating for me, without being too heavy. Like, I have oily skin, like combination oily skin, and I just find her stuff is so good. So I think that's an SPF. It's either a 30 or a 50, I can't remember. Kathy Zilber, is puppy ownership different than you thought? Yes and no. So when we were looking at getting a puppy, I grew up with dogs, but the thing is, I was very young at the time, so my parents were doing the looking after. I knew it was going to be tough. The next one is from Ebel Magico. How do you maintain your love relationship fire with David and yourself? Do you know what? I remember when I first met David, you know when you first meet someone and you start going out and you get that butterflies in your stomach feeling when you're going to meet them and you're really excited. I always remember saying to my mum, oh my God, I'm going to see David tonight, I'm so excited. And I remember my mum was like, don't worry, that feeling doesn't last forever. Like those intense feelings, she was like, you still love the person, but those really intense feelings, you get over them. And I've never got over them. Okay, it's not like when you first meet someone, but when I've been out all day and I'm going home to David, I'm so excited to see him. And I think what really helps is when you are two people and you're both on the same page with things. We very rarely argue. I can't even think about the last time we had an argument, you know. I know it sounds really sickly, but I think what it is that we're two people on the same page with everything. So for example, if you've got like two people and one expects the house to be tidier than the other, let's say, then you might argue over it, you might bicker over it. But for us, as I say, we're both on the same page, and we also go out for a lot of dinners, a lot of lunches, like a lot of date nights, and we just enjoy each other's company. Steph DP98, what's your favourite clothing brand? Oh my God, that's hard. Favourite clothing brand. I quite like independents, you know. I quite like independent boutiques and stores, although they're really hard to find these days. Sorry about Louis. He's like, look, there's a mirror here and he's looking at himself like barking. I really like Fairfax and Favour. I've really got into their stuff. I really like Lily Silk. I love Fabrique. I love Goelia. A lot of the brands I really love, you know what's really weird? They're brands that I work with, and they're brands that I'd never heard of before I worked with them. And then after working with them, I turned into a customer because they sent me a few things and I loved them, and ended up going back to check out what else they've got. So they're like some of my favourite brands. Mimi Salome, I hope I've said that right, 2025. Now you've got a few questions and they're really good, but you know what's really annoying? Because your questions are quite long, they've all been cut off, so I can't see the full extent of what you've written. But you've said, I've been a subscriber for years. LOL, these boxes are too small. They literally are. If you have a long question, Instagram cuts it off. But you've left a question saying, where do you recommend we stay? We are 5-star travellers. Thank you for your content. I'm hoping that the rest of your comment was like where you wanted to stay. I don't know what the true extent of your comment was because it's been chopped off. In London, where to stay in London? I mean, I gotta be honest, I haven't stayed in many places in London because like I live there, so I haven't really, we've stayed in places. I tell you where we did stay once that was quite nice. I stayed there for my birthday, and I always refer to it as the Pineapple. It's right near Harrods. I think it's the Park Tower Hotel, and it looks like a pineapple to me anyway. I always remember a taxi driver saying to me once, I was like, oh, I want to go to the Park Tower Hotel because there's a car park under it and I used to park under it. He was like, oh, is that the one that looks like a pineapple? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. And now I've always just referred to it as that. That's quite nice, and that's been renovated. You've also said, I'll be visiting the UK for the first time next summer for a wedding in Maidenhead. And I think it just says where. I can tell you where to go around Maidenhead. So I used to work in Henley for a couple of years, and Henley's really close to Maidenhead. That whole area is beautiful. I would definitely recommend Henley. It's very cute, quintessential. Marlow though, oh my god, Marlow's actually quite good for shopping as well, and there is actually a Fairfax and Favour in Marlow as well. So I would say those two towns, if you're in the area. I don't know of any hotels. Is Cliveden House around there? I think it could be Cliveden House. I think that's a hotel as well. I've been there for afternoon tea. That's really nice. It's like a stately home. But I would definitely say go to Henley or Marlow if you like want a day out, like quite a nice day out. The next one is from Helena, who has said, if you were to be in your 20s again, what advice would you give yourself? Oh my gosh, so much. Right, the first piece of advice I give myself is, girl, stop spending money because you don't have it. I would definitely, I kind of knew I shouldn't have spent it, but that's what I did in my 20s. I'm a very different person now to how I was then. I think I would definitely say to myself, look, you're digging yourself a deep hole here with debt, and stop spending. The money will come in the future. You will get to like, if I knew in my 20s that I was going to get to a place in my 30s where I had the money and I could go down Harrods and buy whatever I wanted, I don't know what I'd have thought, because I was in such a pickle in my 20s and had so no money. It was all just debt. I couldn't see a way out of it. And I think that's why I carried on spending, because I was like, what the heck, you know, I'm already in debt, might as well add to it. You know, and also I was going out a lot and spending a lot of money on that and outfits to go out and like clubs and stuff. And I think I needed to like chill out. But also I was very focused on my career, particularly in my 20s. And that's good. Like, I was really glad about that, because that's fundamentally what got me out of debt, was like climbing up the career ladder. I think I'd reevaluate the people that were in my life as well at the time, definitely. You know when you like look back at your life and you're like, oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I said that. There are lots of things in my 20s that I feel that way about. KH Vantage. What would be your new daily now? So by this we're talking about like cars, like daily car. So at the moment, my daily is the GT3, and I use that for most things. Whether it's like going to the supermarket or whatever. Like I always said when I bought that car, Porsche in Reading, said, oh, people buy these cars and they leave them in the garage. And I was like, I don't want to be that person. And I think that's part of the reason why I got allocation, is because they want someone who's going to buy the car and use it, not just keep it, hoard it, and then sell it for more money in like however many years time. And they said, you know, we like that you're someone who's going to use the car and enjoy it. But yeah, that's my daily at the moment. We were looking at the RS3, but you know, that got cancelled by Audi, which was so annoying. But I said to David the other day after doing that video, I was like, I feel as though maybe something bad would have happened in that car. You know, I do think this way. I do believe in the universe, etc. And I just thought to myself, maybe that car wasn't for us. Asia, X786. Hi Sophie, what do you think about the brand Goyard, St. Louis, the St. Louis bag in particular? Do you know what? I want to like Goyard, but I've had one of their bags before and I didn't rate it. It felt, that hand painting on it, the monogram, felt very fragile. And the weight of the bag was off. I had the Saigon bag, the mini one with the wooden handle, and the handle was considerably heavier than the bag itself. The bag itself felt really flimsy and really like a plastic carrier bag, but the handle was really heavy. I ended up selling it. I do like, they've got like a little tote that I actually really do like, but I don't like it enough to go and spend the money on it. I like the exclusivity of the brand. I like their sort of, yeah, their exclusivity. It's not that I don't like the brand. I actually would consider the proper Saigon with the wooden panels on it, and I always wanted it in pink. That was fundamentally what I went in for, but I ended up being sold like the mini because that's all they had. In Stella, 100 million. I recently got a Pomeranian puppy as well. What kind of personality does your puppy have? Oh, congratulations on your pup. They're very cute. Louis is very kind. I was worried with Pomeranians because everyone said to me before we got one, oh, they're really snappy. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. You know, I don't want a dog that's going to go and nip people. But he is so kind. You can't take him for a walk. If there's people walking past, he stands on his back feet. I don't know how he does it. He'll stand up on his back feet just like this, and he balances. And he goes up to people like on his back feet doing this with his paws, and he is so friendly and isn't nippy at all and is like really kind. He is quite sassy, you know, like if he's chewing something he's not allowed to chew and I tell him off, he'll look at me and he'll give me chat back. But he's just a really lovely dog actually. We're really enjoying him. RS Jamie, I love you. RS Jamie's super into cars, like a major car girl, like absolutely love you. Best leather leggings. So get this, I want to love leather leggings, but they always stretch on the bum and on the knees and they're quite expensive. So I really like to get coated jeans that look like leather, but they're not because they always snap back in the wash. And there's a pair that I got from Ted Baker about 3 years ago. I know that's not helpful because it's really old now, but there's this pair I got from Ted Baker about 3 years ago, still got them. They always snap back in the wash. So I would say, RS Jamie, go for coated trousers that look like leather, because the leather ones, as I say, they can be like several £100s. The next one is Lady Loves Perfumes. Hi Sophie, just lots of love from Salzburg, and could you please introduce quality gym clothing? Oh, you're so nice, thank you. I would say my favourite leggings are by a brand called Fanker. So just like with some other brands actually, the only reason why I knew about them is because years ago they contacted me and said, if we send you some leggings, can you do a review for us? And I was like, okay, sure. They sent me them and they're compression leggings. And I was really interested in that because I carry weight on my legs. And they sent me them and they really suck you in. They're high-waisted. They don't start falling down when you're working out. They're not see-through at all. And I liked them so much that I ended up continuously buying new pairs. And they do tops and stuff like that. So I really recommend them. KL5, I love you. No question, just sending love and we'll email soon to catch up. Kimberly, thank you so much, Kimberly. Kimberly's lovely, all of you are. Palm trees on holiday. How do I lose my self-doubt when it comes to career stuff? Do you know, I used to have this thing. I don't know if this like helps you to feel less alone, but I was always, and always have been, obsessed with my career. I see my career as like climbing a mountain. You know, you get a new job and you feel like you've reached like a new level, and you're there for a bit and you do your work for a bit, and then you start climbing to the next level. And I just kept going. And it always felt like I was climbing a mountain. I used to set goals like how much I wanted to be earning by what age, the job title I wanted to have by what age, and I set out a plan for myself. And one thing I always struggled with is, even though I was really diligent and it never happened, and I've never in my life, God willing, when I worked for someone else, never had a bad review, but I'm a real perfectionist to a point where I would make myself ill over my work, and I was always paranoid I was going to get fired. I was always paranoid. Like, if all of the managers went out for a meeting, I'd sit at my desk and I'd be like, that's it, they're going to get back and fire me, even though I hadn't done anything, and I always exceeded expectations. You know, I was like one of the few people, last ones in the office every single night. I was like obsessed with my jobs. Every job I ever had, I was obsessed with them, and I loved the people that I worked with. And I would say just try and focus on doing your absolute best and focus on you. And if you're working somewhere that's not doing it for you, maybe you're in a toxic environment, or you're not being paid enough and you can't get any more money out of them, quit and go to the next place. That's what I would say. Like, stay focused on you. Wild Unfiltered, love you too. You have said, how are you finding luxury YouTube compared to when you first started? It has so changed. I first started luxury YouTube in like 2012. And there was not really many other people doing it, and it was like a weird thing to do. I remember I went to Harrods and I bought like a pair of Chanel shoes, and I got home, or a bag or something, and I got home and the packaging was so nice. I thought, I feel like I want to share this before I just rip all the ribbons off. So I set my laptop camera up, because it's all I had was like my webcam, and I just filmed it and I stuck it on YouTube. And I had loads of people going, this is really weird watching you unbox a pair of shoes, but I kind of quite like it. And it was a weird thing to do. People weren't doing it. And then I started going into Harrods and vlogging. People weren't doing it, and I never even got in trouble, because I think I baffled people. Like, people were like, have you got a camera in your hand and you're talking to yourself? That's weird. Like, and then it got to a point where lots of people were doing it, and now security will very often tell you to stop. But back then it just didn't happen. And I feel like things have changed. I feel like it's a lot more competitive. It's a lot more watered down. There's a lot more people doing it. So if you have a video idea, 10 other people have had that idea as well. And it can start to feel quite boring, I feel, luxury on YouTube, because everyone has the same idea, and it's just because everyone has the same idea. It's no one's copying the other. It's just the same, happens to be the same idea. And I think when you watch like 10 people all doing the same thing, it gets boring. And so it has become harder to stay current and to stay fresh. It's definitely become harder, and it's become, yeah, as I say, a lot more competitive, I would say, compared to when I first started, at least. Chichio Blue. What are your thoughts on monochrome outfits? Love it. Although I'm a pink girl. I like pink and grey. Pink, grey, white. They're like my favourite colours. You've also said, what type of artwork paintings do you like? I'm obsessed with pop art. So like Roy Lichtenstein, Andy Warhol. I'm obsessed with that genre, like that 1940s, 50s. Like I love it. I did art for GCSE and A level, and I studied pop art for both of those, and I'm obsessed. Like, I will go to a museum just to see like a Roy Lichtenstein piece. I remember going to, like, I think it was the Tate Modern a couple of years ago, and I wasn't even looking at what was on the wall. I was just walking around saying today, and even David was like, where's the Roy Lichtenstein? That's what we're here for. Like, I'm obsessed with that. Crystal 6298. Hey, did you go to the Hermes sale? No, I didn't go. Viv Fam, would you return to your old marketing firm you loved? Are you still making jewellery pieces? I would 100% go back to where I worked, but I have reached this point in my life where I'm like, I'm able to retire. Do I really want to go back on that? So, like, to give you an idea, the last place I worked, I was in love with it, and those people are still my friends. I'm actually going on a night out next week, and I'm going with a group of friends from there. And it was just one of those places. It was magical. It was brilliant. But I left because I'd reached as high as I could get there, and I felt like I wasn't being challenged. And I'm obsessed with goals, and I'm also obsessed with feeling really challenged. Like, I love to get to the end of the day and feel exhausted because I've got so much done and I've learned something, etc. And I got to a point there where that wasn't the case, and that's fundamentally why I moved on. But I never forgot the place. Yeah, maybe I would go back. I don't know. I would probably consult as opposed to going back, because, as I say, I've reached this point in my career where I am able to retire, and there's other things I want to do. And to be able to retire so young is just like a dream, and I don't want to pass that by. But what I am going to do is, when I announced on YouTube, I think it was like earlier this year, that we have had plans for a couple of years now to retire, and we're finally nearing it. I had a couple, I didn't even know they watched, but I had a couple of people reach out to me that I've worked with in the past saying, hey, we saw you. They don't even know each other. They were like, hey, we saw your video. Would you consult for us? So what I'm going to do is, once we've finished our last couple of projects, which should be early November, in time for my birthday, once that's done, we've already shut down our business website, but I might keep the company going, but on a very small scale. And I think I probably just will do bits of consulting, like a couple of days a month, no more than that. And I've already got some work lined up in terms of that, so I think that's what I'm going to do. But in terms of being a little agency at home where we take on work, that's done. We're done. But I might just, as I say, just consult here and there.